that's ultimately what I chase, is that reaction when I give somebody something that I made, and then they go, well, what do you mean you made it? And that's, so that's kind of how I got started. And then from there, it was just turtles all the way down. I mean, I made myself a wallet, then somebody saw it at work, and then somebody said, well, can you make me one? And I go, yeah, I'll make you one. And gave them one, and they go, hey man, look at this, look what Omar made. And then it's like, you made that? Can you make me one? And I'm Omar with Texas T Leather, and I'm a Tandy guy. Leather itself, I got started with, it was Father's Day, and I was looking for something really special to get for my dad. It was, I wanted to get him a custom-made belt with some, with his name, some engravements. My father races horses, so I wanted to get him something with some horses on it and something just custom for him. And I started calling around and getting some prices and things like that, and just not having the means to pay somebody at the time kind of forced me to kind of just Google it, look up Tandy, and pick up a kit and a belt blank and kind of do it myself. And that's pretty much where it started. It started with that. It started with the work to do that, and then ultimately his reaction when I gave it to him. And I was hooked. And when he got it, I remember my dad's a pretty serious guy. He doesn't really show a whole lot of emotion. And when I gave it to him, he was just kind of holding it, and he just kind of paused for a second. He's like, and the first question he asked me was, you made this? Like, how did you make this? Like, what do you mean you made this? And I'm like, yeah, I made it. Like, I bought the tools, and I had a blank belt, and I stamped it out, and I made it. And he's like, and he was just, his reaction was so funny because he was just blown away by it. And he's like, but this horse, like, how did you do this? Like, how did you do my name here? And like, and I just remember I thought to myself, like, well, if I can get that kind of reaction out of him, that he doesn't really react to too much, I thought, well, this is kind of cool. Yeah. So it just kind of evolved into just making wallets for people, and then the requests came in for like, well, can you put an eagle on it? Can you put my name on it? Can you put my sports team, or whatever the case may be? And that's just kind of how I ended up getting into just leather working in general. And then slowly things started folding over into, well, what else can you do? And I'm like, well, I don't know, tell me what you want. And they tell me what they want, and then I'd figure out what tools I needed to buy to make it. And then sure enough, Tandy has them, and so I go buy whatever tools I need and make whatever they needed. And then it just kind of evolved into all this madness that just ended up in the corner of my little man cave here. And that's pretty much where I'm at today, is with all these tools and the means to just make things for people. Challenging, it's always, especially when you make things like that, where for me it just started off as something very novel. I made something for somebody, and then the question is, well, how much do I owe you? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a professional. I don't do this, for a living. How do I put what you owe me? So for the first, I don't know, maybe 24 wallets, I ended up just giving them away. They would tell me, well, how much you want for this? And I was like, well, I don't know. It was $15 in materials. I mean, you give me whatever you want to give me. I had fun doing it. It was therapy escape for me for a few hours. I got to get out of the madness of just being home, and I got to go to my own little cave for a little while and make something. So, so that was one of the challenges there. And then also the ever looming challenge for me is, especially when somebody puts trust in me to create something that they want for somebody special, is the challenge of not disappointing that person that put that trust in me to make something special for somebody special. And then always chasing that same reaction that I got from my dad the first time I made him a wallet was, oh my God, this is amazing. As long as I can get that out of somebody, I think all my other challenges they all just kind of go away. But that's ultimately the biggest one that I always, I don't know, it's kind of self-imposed, I guess, but it's just always wanting to make sure that the person that I give this item to really likes it, and the person that they're giving it to ends up being something that they keep for quite some time. I like to think that the quality is gonna be there whenever they need it to be, and if they get to keep it for a lot longer than they would a $15 wallet that you buy at Walmart, then that's great. That's kind of what I'm going for. So that's one of the biggest challenges, is just making sure that quality is always there, and making sure that they like it. That's the biggest thing. it's easy to get lost in it. It ends up, I don't know, it just ends up being, especially when you can make something like that, it just ends up being something you get lost in. You're just like, at the end of it, you walk and you're like, whoa. Even sometimes myself, there'll be some projects that are like super challenging, and if you look at my Instagram page, there's been a couple of times where I got to a point to where I've done all the leather work, and then I mess up on the dyeing process. That's like one of the last things that you do, and I'll mess it up and I'll get so upset, and then I'll just go, okay, sorry, this is not going out. And to further stop myself from trying to justify it, all the time that I put in it, I'll take this rotary cutter to it, and I'll just slice it up in a bunch of little strips, and then I'll take a picture of it and then just dump it in the trash, and then I'll go, okay, now I got no choice but to start all over again. So yeah, it ends up being pretty frustrating towards the end, but it's fun. You get into it, you know. It's just, yeah, that's the ever-ending perfectionist, right? It's just like figuring out at what point do you stop nitpicking. I think a lot of it just becomes, for me, I kind of gravitated towards wallets just because it was more functional. It's something that you have on you every day, and you know, whenever I think I've had maybe 2 or 3 wallets that I did like what I just told you, like I just chop them up, and it's mainly just a design. I'm not happy with maybe a couple of cuts on the wallet that I did, or a couple of the stampings. Maybe I accidentally hit the stamp too hard and it bounced over and you know, and it hit where it wasn't supposed to hit or something like that. And the rest of the project can go just silky smooth, and I'll go back to that one little nick on the corner that I'm just like, God, you know. But then as I think about, okay, is it ruining the form? Is it ruining the function? Can the wallet still function as a wallet? And as long as I can get that, and as long as I'm happy with it going out and me giving it to somebody and saying, here's the wallet that you asked for, here's the wallet that, well, now that you paid for it, right? I'm happy with that. As long as I can do that, I'm okay. But the process leading up to that point, I think sometimes I do get caught up in that, where I'm just kind of like obsessing, and then it's like, that doesn't look good. And sometimes I'll take them down to my wife and I'll go, what do you think? And see if she finds that little blemish, because if she can find it, I know somebody's gonna see it. And so that's I use kind of her as my barometer to decide whether or not I'm done with a project. So it can get tough sometimes, because you can fall into that, you know, like, just constantly obsessing over what you have on it, and are they gonna see that? Or are they gonna see this little nick that I missed, or this little, you know, stitch hole that's a little to the left instead of to the right? But it just, you know, ultimately it's a handmade piece, and I've actually had people tell me, well, you know, as I give it to them, I go, it's got a little blemish right there, and they're like, what blemish, dude? This is handmade. Like, it, you know, if it was a machine that made it, it wouldn't have a blemish, then it wouldn't have no soul. I wouldn't care about it. But you made this with your hands, so this little stitch that's a little to the left when it should have been to the right, it's cool. I like it. It's fine. So anybody that's trying to get into this, it's first of all, it's really easy to get into it, and it's really easy to get lost in it too, a lot of times, especially if it's something that you just kind of want to tinker with and things like that. I started off with, like I said, one of those small kits, and then, you know, 3 years later, here I am with all these with all these tools and stuff, and you can get as crazy with it as you want, but to start off, it's so simple. And once again, there's you know, things like YouTube and things like that. There's so many things that's where I learned a lot of what I learned. You know, Tandy has that great library of YouTube videos that you can go on and, well, how do I sew something together? Okay, well then they'll take you step by step on how to sew something together. They'll tell you what parts to buy and what tools you need, and it's really easy to get started. And it's also, once you get started and you actually make that thing that you sought out to make, a checkbook cover, a bookmark, or whatever the case may be, it's really easy to go, that was pretty easy. Let me see, I wonder if I can make a wallet. Okay, yeah, let's go try to make a wallet. And then you make that, and you're like, okay, that was pretty easy. Well, let's try a purse now. You know, and it's you know, it just kind of turtles all the way down. You can really get into it. Because it's so easy. It's so easy to get started with all the resources that are out there now. Especially, everything's all digital now. Everything's online. You type in YouTube, and I mean, you can learn how to build a car on YouTube. It's pretty simple. I'm Omar with Texas T Leather. You can find me on Instagram at Texas T Leather, Facebook at Texas T Leather, and website is up now at www.texastleather.com.